Faith without works is dead. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or a sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, "Depart in peace, be warm and filled," but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus, also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Welcome to episode 2 of the Miracle Mindset. In a world where miracles come in abundance, one man, one thought. Chicken nuggets. I'm probably going to add an echo on that nuggets part. So, episode 2, Miracle Mindset. That I read at the beginning there was James, okay? I love this one. We'll go over it real quick. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, "Depart in peace, be warmed and filled," but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also by faith itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And here's a really important part that's further down. It's the 26th part. But for as the body without spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. I love that addition. It's so key here, right? So you'll find a lot of us that have made the choice to find harmony and unification within the many parts of ourselves, maybe coming from different angles, right? And that's why, for me, it's so crucial whenever I work with any of my brothers and sisters that I do my best to zero out, meet them where they're at, allow the Spirit to work through me, and the Spirit work through me through my instrument of my value belief paradigms, directly proportional and in alignment with my beliefs, my values, and my intention, even if my intention is split, right? So what does that mean? So you can have split intentions in your life, all right? Split intentions can cause what I call double speak, all right? And so especially when you're transforming into something new. Behold, I bring all things new. I live, yet not I. Christ dwelleth in me. I died on the cross for Christ, so on and so forth, right? I've used the caterpillar butterfly reference in the past, right? When the caterpillar enters into the cocoon phase, that transformation phase, some people could call it the dark night of the soul. What ends up happening is the cells within the caterpillar that have been there, that potential to become a butterfly has always been there, just like the potential for the tree is always in the acorn, right? It's just waiting for the appropriate time and conditions to transform. And so you can look at that like, if you want to look at it like you're transforming into Christ consciousness, if you want to call it fifth dimensional awareness, if you want to call it higher self, if you want to call it just the new you, or if you want to call it the improved you, whatever. And people could say, well, what do you mean I'm transforming? That's silly. The spiritual new age nonsense, right? Well, you've been doing this your whole life. Imagine in your head, if you will, a picture of you as you were a baby. Come on, man. Now look at you now, right? You've gone through metamorphosis your whole life. We're in a continuous state of metamorphosis. This elevation to the next level or state of being, whatever you want to call it, the new higher self of form, we're talking dramatic. Will be a dramatic transformation. But, it's funny because you've already done dramatic transformations from a baby to where you are now, right? So when a caterpillar enters into the cocoon phase, what ends up happening is the imago cells, some people call them imaginal cells or something, those things are the cells that are going to create the new body parts for the butterfly. And what happens is the immune system of the caterpillar starts to attack the imago cells because it looks like a foreign body, right? So it seems like there's a war going on, right? And what happens is they'll keep attacking the imago cells, but the imago cells, it is inevitable, right? The imago cells keep replicating, and the immune system of the caterpillar can't keep up. And so what ends up happening is the caterpillar cells are slowly dying, and there comes a point, like this kind of pivotal point, where the immune system of the caterpillar just says, okay, we're not even a caterpillar anymore. What are we hanging on to? This is nonsense. We're just pieces of a caterpillar, and we're becoming more butterfly than we are caterpillar. And I like to imagine it as there's a surrender at that point. And, some people say you got to surrender, right, to God, right? I'd say you're surrendering to the new you. The caterpillar is now surrendering to the butterfly. And when that happens, when you make it through that transformation period, it's pretty fantastic what happens, because all of that. So as you identify as the caterpillar, it's a very painful metamorphosis. You're dying in a sense, and you don't know what you're turning into. The caterpillar cannot understand what's happening. It cannot see what it's becoming so long as it's the caterpillar, right? And so it feels like, in many ways, many small deaths as you fight to cling on to the old. And what ends up happening is the imago cells get to a certain point, and then the caterpillar just surrenders. It's like, I'm not even a caterpillar anymore, dude. What are we hanging on to here? And at that moment, the cells start going into apoptosis, and that's they basically kind of kill themselves and surrender their nutrients to provide for the butterfly, and then the butterfly becomes a butterfly, right, with all those nutrients that were in the cells that were formerly aka caterpillar cells. Now, what's really fascinating about this is the I am presence that was the caterpillar, right, and was the cocoon. That I am will be in the center of the butterfly too. So, and this is really beautiful, guys. And when I refer to Jesus in Scripture, I see it. I want to say I just straight up know it. What he was doing is he was acting as a way shower. He was embodying what it means for an I am presence on this plane in the experience of being human, identifies itself with both the spiritual and the animal, and transforms into something that is led by spirit. So it understands its spirit first, expressing itself as human, and becomes powerful enough to influence its outer world with more clarity of purpose and intention than it did when it was looking at things backwards as if it was an animal trying to be spiritual. It's like a transformation. And I think this has happened many times on this plane. And I think it continues to happen. I think there are cycles, just like day and night cycles. And I'm not going to go too into that. I think I might have mentioned it in another space before. I don't like to go into those theories that I have that I can't prove. I mean, a lot of this, technically, how would I prove it, right? Well, the way that I go about expressing these things to you guys is by giving understanding of, the macros and the micro. And so that's why I do so many analogies. So that you can, even if you can't prove it per se, you can understand the relativity of it and compare that to your prior knowledge and see how that there are more holes in your prior understanding of things than in this newer one, which is bound to grow too. This is just love always meets you where you're at, right? So it's just a really fascinating thing during that transformation process. If you think about being, what makes you a butterfly is in some ways diametrically opposed to what would make you a caterpillar, right? A caterpillar crawls on its stomach on the ground. A butterfly flies, right? Caterpillars have way more legs. There's massive differences, right? Even what they eat, what they do is very, very different, right? But an important thing to note is that I am what was, I am what is, I am what will be. And so when Yeshua was saying all of these I am statements, I like to look at it like, imagine, if you will, let's go with caterpillars and butterflies. So imagine you get a bunch of caterpillars and they're all crawling on their stomachs, and they have the potential to be butterflies, but they're scared because they overly identify as caterpillars. And to them, then this Christ butterfly comes over and he's like, he flies over, "What's up, guys?" And it said, "I came to you and you did not know me," right? He goes, "Hey, guys." And all the caterpillars look up at the butterfly. And he's like, "I am one of you." And you're like, "Who are you? Who do you think you are?" And he goes, "I can fly. I and my God are one. I and the sky are one." And they're like, "Blasphemy." Caterpillars can't fly. What is wrong with you, right? And he's like, "Guys, no, listen. Yeah, well, I am what was. Yeah, I was a caterpillar. I am what is, and I went through the cocoon. And I am what will be. I fly. And this I am within me is the same I am within you. I am both a man and God combined. I am both the butterfly and the caterpillar. I'm both. And if you guys listen to what I say, you can follow the same path that I did. And you can become butterflies." And they're all like, "What? You're crazy, man. This is blasphemy. You got to go sacrifice animals to God." That's what caterpillars would say. Anyways, so he's a way shower. And if you know in the Bible, right, and I've already shared this before many times, I'll do a little disclaimer here. Even the Bible says there's many false prophets. It's a lot of different books put together. There is a spirit that, at least up until now, has been active on this plane, and I think there are reasons for it, and it was the spirit of lie. And the lie is a parasitic force that corrupts truth. Truth can exist without a lie, because truth, by its very definition, is just the truth. Lies, however, cannot exist without the truth, and yet, which means they cannot destroy the truth in its entirety, because their very nature is the corruption of said truth. So that force, that's what it does, right? You can see it in everything right now. Now, I think, I want to start just saying I know, but I know that, actually, what do I know about that? I don't know. In my heart, I know that we're in a transition process of the truth being revealed. The Armageddon apocalypse and Revelation just means the removal of the veil, right? And the veil is just an inversion of truth, the lie, right? So anyway, so Jesus came and told all the caterpillars, "Hey, look at me," right? But here's the thing: when he sent out his apostles, he told his apostles, "Go heal the sick, raise the dead, cast out demons." And we're actually going to have some episodes in the future about daemons. I think I might have mentioned them in off pieces a little bit. We're going to get a lot of fun stuff. And that means that they were out there doing the same thing, right? And that's what we'll see. It's already happening, but that's what we're seeing right now. The awakening of caterpillars becoming butterflies. A lot of you, especially those who will be drawn to this series, are in the cocoon phase right now. And it's a pleasant / unpleasant experience. I will tell you this: it gets easier and easier the more you identify as the butterfly than the caterpillar, and the more you cling to identifying as the caterpillar, the more painful it will be, right? So to the degree, and remember, everything on this plane, by its very nature, to give us the opportunity to have freedom of choice, is done in degrees, right? just the nature of it. Why? Because in between energy and vibration is a frequency. And you can't have a frequency without degrees. Where you take the one sound, the one song, universe. That's basically what it means, universe, the one song. You take the one song and you denominate it and you slice it up like a pizza. And in that slicing up of it, it creates frequencies of the pizza. Right? And then that expresses itself in the material plane. And it's the many and the one and the many. Because as in Corinthians it says, if the eye says to the ear, you're not worthy because you're not, I'm just paraphrasing this, you're not worthy because you're not an eye, that's nonsense, right? If the ear says to the eye, you're not part of the body because you can't hear, that's nonsense. But in the same token, if the whole body were an eye, where's the body? So as it is, we are many parts in one body. And that gives us union and relationship. It's a really beautiful thing. I mean, just look at your own body, right? It's your body, right? But you have an eye, and an eye has a specific set of duties. And each part not only adds to the overall strength of the body in their own capacities, but also they help to define one another. Some things relate to each other, like there are sensing organs in our body, right? And their job is to help us make sense of things. There are parts of our body that help us to dispose of waste. There are parts of our body that help us to assimilate nutrients, right? And so in their opposition and familiarity with one another, they help to define each other. It's really beautiful, right? So if you look at a forest full of trees, other trees in their own right give a sense of definition to other trees. But so doesn't everything else in the forest that is not like the tree. It's a beautiful, harmonious dance, and it requires the marriage and the union and the harmony between that which has been separate and individualized with that which is the uniting glue that holds it all together, that love, right? But anyways, so going back to the caterpillar thing, when you're going through this journey, I'll tell you, you can actually feel it. So if you want to think back to some of these tower moments that you've had, you can kind of look at them and you'll actually see that really when you finally like heal that part, what you've really done is just let go of the idea of being the caterpillar in that regard. And you can see that the most painful it was in the part where you were very resistant to let go of that thing. You could almost see like a part of yourself was trying to show you kindly, right? And it just, if you ignore it, it gets more and more difficult, and then it like hurts, and then you kind of have like a mini death, and then you integrate that energy. So what ends up happening is the nutrients, the memories, the data that was stored in the thought forms, the thought form cells of the caterpillar you die and release through apoptosis, in a sense, the energy, the understanding that was in them that now becomes part of the new you, right? And so what the devil meant for harm becomes good now, right? So the thing that was hanging on to being a caterpillar can now be turned into raw energy and reformulated into that which will aid the butterfly. It's just a transformative process. It's really magical. So one thing to remember is if you find yourself having a dark night of the soul, I can assure you that what's happening right there is there's caterpillar thought forms that primarily made up the identity of what you thought you were that are resistant to the change. Now, here's a fascinating thing. They are just thought forms. They are thought forms, and they can be beneficial thought forms within you, or they could be not beneficial. What makes them beneficial or not beneficial? Your intentions, right? So at one point in time when you were looking to create the experience, this hyper limited separate experience of being only partially responsible for your existence on this plane, they served you, and they served you honorably and very well. They did exactly what they were programmed to do to give you the experience of being the caterpillar, to being an irresponsible or partially responsible being on this plane that had the capacity or wherewithal. No, that's not that basically had the desire to play out that role of a victim in a victim-victimizer world, right? So they served what they were supposed to do. Technically, they're not alive. Jesus said the dead are not alive and the living cannot die. You are the one who is holding on to them. Now, what happens sometimes is we can either overly identify with the thought forms, and if we overly identify with the thought forms, meaning we don't transcend the thought forms, then the thought forms have consumed us. So it's like you create a character and then you forget that you created the character, and now you're serving the character that you created. It is your master, to the degree that you believe that, right? But on the same token, also, some people, they'll transcend the character, but then they call the character their enemy. And here's a beautiful thing, though, or an interesting thing. When you do that, you now created a demon, and a quote-unquote negative demon, because you have given responsibility to that other being. You said, there's another thing alive within me that has power to thwart me, to work against me. And created your own devil, or many devils. And ultimately, they're just echoes. They're algorithmic intelligence. And if your character were to die tomorrow, they all die with that character. They're gone forever. Think about that. They need you, and without you, they could not live. But you could live without them. Think about that. They can't live without you. You can live without them. Who's the one who's alive? You. So the game is transcending the thought forms. Without personifying them as something with equal or greater power than your own. Now, some people could say, well, easier said than done. Right? Why? Because in this experience of time and space, you have concentrated, right? So when you drink orange juice concentrate, which by the way I would never drink, stuff's like straight poison, but no, I shouldn't really say that. I guess if someone had the correct mindset, it's not what goes in you that defiles you, it's what comes out of you, right? So I don't want to cast that on anybody else, but I would instead say that there are better things to drink from a health perspective than concentrated juices, right? But what is a concentrated juice? So concentrated juice is kind of like an extracted version of that thing. So there's if you have concentrated juice, in that liquid is a massive amount of orange juice, right? So what ends up happening is you can concentrate particular thought forms inside of yourself on a regular basis and give them power every time you do it. So now it's like it's concentrated, it's powerful, right? But ultimately it's only powerful because of the power you have given it. So how do you give it power? Bible says, do not use the Lord's name in vain, right? What did God tell Moses his name was? I am that I am. I am's what I says I am. So I am that I am. So every time you said I am this, I am that, I hate this, I hate that. Even when you made declarations about other people outside of you, even when you're saying that about them, any judgments you're throwing at them, saying, thinking, feeling, so on and so forth, you're also casting a judgment on them, but simultaneously it's on yourself too. right? So you say, I hate people named Bob, right? What you've just done is so what does it mean to hate something? It means to have an anger, right? Now that hatred, anger comes from a feeling of helplessness, weakness, right? It's a reaction to it to make someone feel more powerful for how unpowerful they feel because of that hatred, right? So you're saying this person has the ability to take away my peace, my harmony, my joy. They have the ability to affect my life, and this is an energy, thought, value, belief paradigm that was saturated in the human collective consciousness for a very long time. So even the babies that were being born were born with these programs in them. You know, they say you must at one atone for the sins of the father, right? So even the body that the spirit incarnated into already had a significant degree of value belief paradigms of hyper separateness and irresponsibility in the world, of hatred and all that stuff. It like just is inverted, right? But with that being said, when a baby's born, there's a lot more purity in there than what ends up happening to many adults. And then in the first 7 years of their lives, they're extremely influenced by the outer world as they're in a theta state, right? And that's going back to the scripture. A farmer had an adversary, right? And Satan is Satan in the scripture is an adversary, right? An adversary came in the night and planted weeds amongst the farmer's good seed. When the farmer was asked if he should pull up the weeds, he said, "No, I shall wait until harvest time." When he was asked if he should pull up the weeds, he said, "No, I won't pull up the weeds, because if I pull up the weeds, I will also pull up the wheat. No, I shall wait until harvest time, when the weeds and wheat are clearly visible against one another, and then I shall pull up the weeds and burn them." Now, this is not farmer advice, because that makes no sense. Why would you leave the weeds in there until harvest time? The whole point of pulling out the weeds before harvest time is so that they don't corrupt the crop, right? Before it's harvested. And you don't have to worry about pulling up weeds and pulling up the wheat, right? So what is it really referring to? Well, it's referring to our experience on this plane. In order for us to have degrees of choice and frequency of expression, it required that you create polarity. Without that polarity, the one song doesn't exist, because there's no relativity, no relationship, no experience. So by itself, and I'm not going to go into this now, but if you want to listen to the Know Thyself series that I did within this podcast, it talks about the energy, frequency, vibration. Long story short, the energy is the limitless, needless, undefined pole, or less needy, limited, and defined pole. The vibration is the more limited, needy, and defined pole. The frequency is where the two come together, right? And energy, frequency, vibration. Or you could look at it as the spirit is the energy, the material is the vibration, and the soul, the mind, the etheric mind, not to be confused with the brain, is the thing that binds the two of them together. So what you do is, this is how we have free will on this plane, right? Is that you have the polarity, right? So why was an adversary needed? Well, an adversary was needed to give you choice, right? So if you have truth, you must have the idea of the inversion of the truth, which is a lie. And once you do that, you have an infinite number of degrees in between there, so you can literally continue to have infinite expressions. This is the simplest way to say it. And so now you have choice. That's how you have free will, and that's how you can have the experience of movement. You can move around. And so in this plane, there will be a degree of polarizing, because you will be seemingly moving in a particular direction, continuously moving in that direction, right? And so for those who've kind of decided to awaken, that the caterpillar is dying, to be reborn as the butterfly. And when the Jesus butterfly, the Christ butterfly comes back and tells everybody, he's like, "Hey guys, look, I know it's crazy. This is you." And they're like, but they can't see it, right? That's why Jesus said that you shall bring the spirit of truth to them, and they will not know it. The world will not know it, because they're so used to, seeing is believing, and they can't imagine. They just can't, right? But that's where we get into the miracle mindset, right? And this is why we walk by faith. This is why we walk by faith. By your works you shall know them, right? It's uncharted territory here, guys. And the caterpillar in you, aspect of you, it lives by statistics. It loves them. It loves statistics. And to me, the difference between statistics and statistics are old interpretations of past experiences. And they seem so real. Right? Our psychiatry programs like that's like, oh, well, we've studied a bunch of people, we asked them questions, we looked at their behavior patterns, and because this many people have this type of behavior pattern, and because they have this type of behavior pattern, it means they have this type of disease. If they have this type of disease, many times they say it's literally incurable, then they are going to be like this for the rest of their lives. It's the dumbest thing ever. Why? Think about any invention that's ever come out. Any invention. Let's just go with electricity. I know they didn't invent electricity, they invented the harnessing of it, but the utilization of electricity. Do you know when someone had that idea coming in their head, and at least for the sake of our understanding, nobody on this plane had harnessed that power before. If that person had an inspiration come in their head and said, hey, there's an invisible force in this world that we can't see that can be harnessed to generate power that could do miracles for people on this plane, lighting their homes, powering machinery, doing all of these things. You can't see it, but if you continue on this path of this inspiration, this idea that is being given to you, you'll be able to do that and bring a miracle to Earth. Can you imagine if that person tried to go with statistics before they decided whether or not they were going to put any energy into that? Let's do it. So let's say, I know there's some contention over who actually invented it. So let's just say the guy who invented its name was Peter Quigley. Right? So Peter Quigley's sitting there one day. Oh, actually, let's say Peter Quigley was one of the first people that the Spirit gave the inspiration to. And Peter Quigley decided, well, in order for him to move forward with it, he wants to do an appropriate calculation and make sure that it's a worthy investment of his time and energy so that he doesn't futilely waste his time. In his mind, he's like, I'm a good man. I can do lots of things. Do I want to waste my life chasing this idea, or do I want to move forward with this idea and potentially benefit humanity in ways unforeseen by anybody before, or seemingly not done, whatever. So he sits down with a little piece of paper. There's a thing called the Ben Franklin close. Salespeople like to use it, where you draw like a cross, and on the left side of the cross, you write why you shouldn't, and on the right side of the cross, you write why you should. So you write all the reasons why you shouldn't do it, all the reasons you should, right? So let's say he does a little Ben Franklin close, and they call it T close, right? It's like a T they draw. And he goes, okay, I'm going to go by statistics. All right, so I have this idea that I could do something that could significantly benefit humanity. It's an idea that came in my head that said that there's some invisible power outside of me that can be harnessed to somehow power the world. Okay. Can I see it? No. All right. Well, I can't see it. It's just an idea. Okay. Well, let me look at past experiences to see if this is possible. Let me look at the statistics. Okay. How many people have invented equipment that can harness an invisible force of I shall call it electricity. I like T's, right? I'm using a T close. Why not just put a T, more T's in there? Electricity. Okay, ready statistics. All right, how many people are on the planet at this time? I have no idea because we don't have Google yet. So I'm going to say 3 million people. I don't know why my accent is changing right now. So there are 3 million people on Earth. And Earth, I don't know because I don't have Google. I don't know how long humans have been here, but it's probably some ignorant equation that I'll have in my head. So maybe they've been here for hundreds of years or thousands of years or something. How many of them have actually done this before? So 3 million people. German word in there. I'm just gonna run with this. So there are 3 million people now. We've been around for approximately 1,000 years. So maybe there's been 60 million people in existence for all of time on this planet. Okay. So out of these tens of millions of people, how many people have ever harnessed the power of a hidden energy, I shall call electricity, before? Oh yeah, I don't have a calculator yet. Carry the 0. Okay. 0. 0 people have done it out of tens of millions. According to my calculations and the wisdom of man, that which has been manifest, it is impossible. It's never been done, which means it cannot be done. You know, the Bible always talks about the wisdom of man, right? The wisdom of the manifest. What is the manifest and manifested? That which is old. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins, for they shall burst. Nay, you must put new wine into new wineskins, so that both shall be preserved. Nor can you sew a new patch on an old garment, because the old garment will continue to tear. Behold, said in Isaiah, I bring all things new. Do you perceive it? I shall make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Statistics are diametrically opposed, yet on the same plane of miracles. And that means that you can always swing in a particular direction of the realm of statistics or the realm of miracles. But you cannot serve two masters, for you shall honor one and offend the other. The more you turn the volume down, the less up it is. The more up you turn the volume, the less down it is. The more you live in the mindset of miracles, the less you will live in the mindset of statistics. And the more you live in the mindset of statistics, the less you shall live in the realm of miracles. Caterpillars love statistics. Butterflies love miracles. That being said, the goal isn't to just live in a realm of faith in miracles, because the realm of the spirit is energy. It needs union and relationship with the manifest. bringing heaven to earth, not running away to heaven. If we completely just popped into like complete heaven, or the complete what is expansion without something to expand into? And what is expansion without manifestation of expansion? Right? The energy of the kingdom, the seed that is the smallest of all seeds, imperceivable, but when nurtured grows into a tree that shelters even the birds in heaven, is the energy component, potential. What is potential without expression? Right? And I think at the beginning of this cast, I was kind of talking about we're all at different stages, right? And some of us may have leaned more heavily into possibility realm, head in the clouds, than others who were heavily grounded into earth, and they're super doers, right? And so it can be kind of confusing, because some of the people out there who have been really heavily invested in the earth plane, as they're evolving and going through their cocoon process of transformation, you may find that for them, they're heading in the direction of putting their head more in the clouds, right? So what serves them and what serves someone like myself, and maybe others who are listening to this podcast who are similar to me, is different. I was born of spirit, but also I'm not just sitting in the spirit. Well, technically everything's spirit, just different expressions of it in a sense. But I have to delineate, denumerate it, or it wouldn't exist in this material plane without juxtaposition and union relationship, right? So for the sake of that, there's spirit, energy, there's material manifestation, and then there's where the two come together. So for someone like me, what I'm working on now is realizing that this material plane is not something I'm supposed to be escaping and running away from. It's something I'm supposed to be mastering. It's something I'm supposed to be coming in union with, and just be full of love and harmony with everything. I'm unifying every part of myself. And I realized the more I unify, that the parts of me that seemed so dark and evil were just basically the parts of me that were separate and not in unification. And so they behaved the way something would if it was in either opposition to me or pushed away from me. That's why Jesus made all those references of the one that got away. The sheep that got away, he left his 99 on the hill, and he got the other sheep that wandered off, picked it up and said, I love you more than the rest. It says, for the angels rejoice more for a single sinner in repentance than the 99 who need no redemption, right? That's what we're doing. We're going and finding all these pieces of ourselves, integrating them within ourselves. And how do you integrate it? You realize I am that is a part of me. I'm transcendent to it. That is not all that I am, but it is a part of me. And as we do that inside, it starts to express outside. And you can actually see in the experience that you're having, everybody's a part of you. And then in every, it's magic. I'm not going to go too deep into that. That would probably take 15 more hours of explaining, and experiences by whomever is listening to this who hasn't gotten to that understanding yet, to embody that more, right? So with people like me, I'm learning, let's go back to the scripture. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warm and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus, faith by itself does not have works, is dead. So it's really telling us that, the reason we're here is to bring heaven to earth, to bring miracles to this realm, right? So you can live in a place where you believe in miracles, and unify the miracles with this material plane. And when you do that, it will be helpful to realize that there is a diametric opposition between the idea of statistics and the idea of miracles, right? And so sometimes, and it's a crazy thing, because the way that you do your magic, so to speak, miracle magic, I don't believe in ritualistic. I believe that people believe in ritualistic expressions of magic, and that's an experience that they can create. I find it to be extremely limiting and a path that I don't seek to tread. But miracle magic is really just an allowance of allowing it to flow through you. And we'll dive more and more into this as the episodes progress. But sometimes your own statistics will prevent and I did a series about being love, right? Allowing love to flow through you. So that love will create miracles. The agape love, which is an unconditional, intelligent, omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent, all-powerful, all-knowing, and in all and through all source that can be whatever is allowed through the channel of your quote-unquote soul matrix or conduit, right? And it pours through you, right? But sometimes your own prior knowledge, caterpillar knowledge of what you think are serving you are statistics. And those can seem like they are something that you are holding on to protect yourself. But they could actually be the very, and the statistic, so long as someone, so this is where it gets kind of tricky to explain this to people, because if someone is just solely identified as a caterpillar, they don't know their connection to source, they don't know that there's an omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient energy that they're connected to that it's like, think about it like you have this like guardian angel, right? That like can see the future, it can see the past, it can see what happens if you go left, what happens if you go right, it can see all the different timelines, it can see how everybody else is feeling, how everybody else is thinking. And you can say, how is that possible? Because it's a force, it's in all and through all. It's like an internet. But the thing is that your caterpillar character, by its very nature, was designed to be separate to some degree for the sake of experience, and limited to a significant degree for the sake of allowance of the giving and receiving of love from one being to the other to create this realm, to create that experience in this realm. Because of that, it by its very nature can do nothing other than be a reciprocal, be a recipient of that force. That's its job, right? Know what each body part is for. It's the receiver, right? And so if you try to use that self to navigate the world, then perhaps using statistics within that realm of understanding will serve you very well, right? Like, so because but here's the crazy part, because as you are identifying as the caterpillar, the statistics being, it has a program that it's running on that believes in those statistics. And so if it tried to circumvent statistics that are deeply rooted in its unconscious belief system, what it is, it's still abiding by the laws of those statistics that they have believed themselves to be, simply by believing themselves to be the caterpillar. Whoa, right? So it's tricky. That's why you don't test thy Lord God. So that same source within you knows where your unconscious and subconscious is at. And so, like, you've got to be patient, and love will meet you where you're at. And it takes time to purify that, let go of things. And when it's time, you'll just know. You'll just know. You don't have to test anything. It's just a knowing, and it's a process. So, am I saying that there are people out there that won't benefit from playing that game of statistics? No, I'm not saying that, because for them, they may literally just be playing that game of statistics. So they are in that realm of statistics, and so they have to abide by the laws that they have set forth by the perspectives and co-signing of acceptance of being that which lives in the realm of a world where statistics are valuable. Now, here's the interesting thing about when you gamble, right? When you gamble, people be like, let's say you play blackjack and you just lost 10 hands, right, in a row by doing the right thing every time. Does that mean that the next time your odds are in your favor, that the next time you'll get it? No, they're not. The odds reset every time, right? But the probability is you should win after losing that many times, but the odds themselves continue to reset, right? So why was I saying that? So it doesn't really matter right? So like if you've seen a 1,000 people, like let's say they say, there's statistics about alcoholics, right? Like 1/3 of people who become alcoholics will ever like get out of it or something, and 70 something percent of them will relapse within the first year of quitting. That doesn't mean anything. It's actually insignificant numbers. It means absolutely nothing. Even if the number said, according to our statistics, 100% of people who quit drinking alcohol will drink again, it still means nothing. With God, who needs odds when you have God? Not some guy in the sky. You have God. The way that you gain things in this world is through understanding. As a consciousness being, as a spiritual being, having this human experience, the way that you transform things is with wisdom and understanding. You can have a wisdom and understanding of what you see manifested in front of you, of how the law works when you manifest things, how the idiosyncrasies between the particular value belief paradigms that you hold and their manifestation in your outer world. The same way a baby could, when it's learning to take control of its fingers and its hands, is learning the subtleties of the thought frequencies that they're sending out to their body, and the cause and effect relationship between specific thought frequencies and the results. You got to think about this. When a baby's learning to move its hand, it's not like I want to move my hand so my hand will move. That's not. It doesn't even know what a hand is yet. It's just rapid firing these very subtle, soft, imperceivable frequencies, and it's allowing them to move through it in different ways and watching the results. And when it starts to see repetition in a particular way, it starts to say, aha, when I hold this particular thought frequency, this is what's happening. That's the realm where we can really make the greatest change in the quote-unquote spirit realm. Right? So thoughts are very, very powerful, right? There's a whole bunch of noise going on outside. My apologies. And I just lost the train of thought. So let's go back to the odds thing. So even if the odds said there was a 100% chance, sorry, they said the statistics are that 100% of people who've ever drank and try to quit drinking drank again. Doesn't matter. Isaiah, behold, I bring all things new. Do you perceive it? What does that mean? Every moment is new. You sit it like you look out at the world, like people, like, where is tomorrow? It's not here yet. And to you, it may just feel like you open your eyes and then it's a new day. But you got to understand that you're in a world. You're in a world in that moment that is changed. It's not what it was the day before. Things are different. But here's the crazy part. It's a new world. If you can't see the next moment, it's because it doesn't exist yet. This moment does. So that means the next moment is new. But you couldn't just have a new moment without also having a new you, without also having a new outer world, without having a new universe that sits into. Everything is continuously resurrecting itself. And so when the Christ butterfly was coming and saying, I am this, I am that, he's talking to all of his other butterfly brothers and sisters and letting them know the truth. I am what was, I am what is, I am what will be. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the beginning and the ending. I am the truth. I am the way. I am the resurrection. I am the life. The I am cannot die. It continually resurrects itself. And because that I am is within you, you are continuously resurrecting yourself. The world is continuous. Everything. All things are possible to them that believe. And so, it's funny because the caterpillar, when it's fighting viciously against the butterfly cells to protect itself, it doesn't realize The caterpillar was an expression, but the I am within the caterpillar believed it was just a caterpillar and it was dying. And so it kind of fought against the new transformation for a while until eventually it surrendered to the new transformation. And then when it becomes a butterfly, guess what it realizes? Oh, shoot. I'm still here. I didn't die. But my whole body turned to goo in the cocoon. But I am still here, but now I have wings. Oh my God. I feel absolutely compelled to go fly up to all the other caterpillar brothers and sisters and tell them what's coming. It's kind of funny how much our purposes change. And that's a confusing thing too, because as a caterpillar's dying, a lot of what you believed you wanted and thought you liked and all that starts to die. And there's that period where you're in between the caterpillar and the butterfly, which is scary and uncomfortable. Like, what do I want? I had a little voice saying, what do I want? Because I was like, all my old wants were dying, and I didn't have all the new wants yet, so I didn't know. And now the nuances, or the nuance of the nuance. And now I realize my purpose. And it's exciting. My new purpose. I am what was. I was a caterpillar, and then I was the thing going through that metamorphosis process, and I'm the thing emerging, spreading my wings, and wanting to just fly around and show miracles, man. We'll wrap this up soon here. So, bringing heaven to earth, right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, heaven, on earth as is in heaven. Right? Bring them together, man. So, in that faith without works is dead, what does it profit if someone has faith but no works, right? See, this is the thing that was confusing me. I was like, oh, I'm just going to have faith, right? There's a joke. There's a guy, right? There's a flood. And the waters are going to be rising. And so first they send out like the firemen, police, going door to door and trying to get everybody to leave their houses, saying a storm is coming, a storm is coming. And the guy's like, nah, I don't need to do anything. God will save me. Right? And they're like, all right, whatever. And then the waters get kind of high, and the guy's up on the second floor of his house. And people come in a little rowboat, and they're like, get in the boat. This water's going to keep coming. And he's like, nah, I'm good. God will save me. And you're like, idiot. It's not the best sound effects. That's supposed to be an oars. It's supposed to be oars rowing. It wouldn't be just one oar, because then the guy who was calling him an idiot as he rowed off would just be going in circles and just be weird. So they row off with two oars. It doesn't really sound like oars either, but it sounds like stepping on little frogs, which is really sad. I don't condone stepping on little frogs. So they go away, and then finally he's up on the top of his like chimney. All the water's up around him, and they send a helicopter, and they're like, "Get in the helicopter!" And he's like, "Nah, I'm good. God will save me." And they're like, we're out of here. And then the water raises and he drowns. And he gets up to heaven, goes to the pearly gates, and he's standing in front of God. And he's like, God, man. Or God, not man. I don't know. God, I don't know what to call you. God's like, don't worry about it. It's all good. I'm omnipotent. I don't really care. But what's up? And the guy's like, well, God, I had faith in that you were going to save me. And you let me drown. Why? God's like, dude, I sent people knocking at your door. I sent a rowboat. And that guy was kind of rude, but I was hoping he was going to prompt you, But that didn't work. And I even sent a helicopter. What do you want, man? And And so when we listen to this James scripture, right? If a brother, now this isn't just to ourselves, it's to other people. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warm and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. Now, the beautiful thing about the miracle mindset is this. Christ said, my yoke is gentle and my burden is light. The interesting thing about operating from the place of grace, if one so chooses this path, is it doesn't feel like you're doing hard work. Now, if you believe that the work must feel hard when you go to help other people, you may inadvertently or advertently cause that power of love to flow through you and give you an experience of hard work. But the thing that makes the experience of hard work hard is the resistance within your own psyche. In other words, it only feels difficult because there's a split intention wherein there's a part of you that wants the work to be done and an oppositional part of you that doesn't want to do the work. That's what that discomfort is. All right? So it's on you. So be aware when you decree things. Like going out and doing works. It says faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. It doesn't say faith by itself, if it does not have hard work, is dead. All right, work it out. Express it. Do it. Faith without action is dead. Unify them, don't divide them. And I think I want to add something too here. With the statistics thing, I think it's important to note that love will always meet you where you're at, and you're going to meet yourself where you're at. If you haven't been in the gym in a long time, because the thing is there's a part of you that's going to operate on statistics. It's kind of how it expresses itself to a degree. So I think just being gentle and patient with yourself and keeping an open channel of communication and understanding of where you're presently at in your understanding, and also simultaneously allowing for the miracle to flow through you might be helpful, right? Right, Jesus said, don't test thy Lord God. Like, don't jump off a building and say, I'll be able to fly, if a part of you believes, statistically speaking, that you can't, right? So, look, Jesus healed some people with clay, and some people he healed by saying things to them. When he healed the woman that grabbed his cloth, there was a woman that was bleeding, right? I said in yesterday's episode, and she thought he healed her, and she got down on her knees and started like worshiping him. He said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you, go in peace. So just patience, allowance. A lot of what will be happening too during this process, as you kind of reprogram into the mindset of miracles, is the miracles will help to prove to you the miracles. It's an allowance thing, man. And we'll dive more into kind of how that happens. And as you do this and you kind of increase your miracle mindset, should I talk about it now? Wow, it's already an hour, 4 minutes. Sheesh. No, tomorrow we'll get into practical applications of some things. But anyway, so faith by itself. So I want to kind of go on this thing with the statistics thing. So you got to meet yourself where you're at. So it's very, 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 very likely that there's a good majority of your unconscious, subconscious mind that operates from a statistic perspective, because you've probably done that your whole life. And so just being like, statistics are stupid, I'm just going to run across, traffic and I won't get hit. You know what I mean? If there's some odds, because your very belief in the odds in your unconscious are still going to participate in what happens, right? So you got to meet yourself where you're at and meet others where they're at, right? So you may meet some people that maybe don't want medicine in the same context of that, right? That may be willing to explore the idea of alternative medicines. There may be some people that where their faith is at is they can, have someone do Reiki. And there may be some people that will, you can just say to them, you're going to be fine, and they'll be fine, just because you'll carry that belief for them. But you're going to be at a particular place in your value, belief, and faith, and they're going to be at it. So we have to honor and respect the fact that we do have statistics. If we deny that we have a statistical mindset and try to override it, it's like having a split mind, right? So it could, and actually, if you try to do that, if you try to deny what you presently believe, and if you try to deny that you presently believe something before you've been able to transform it, it can kind of work seemingly in opposition to the new belief you're trying to do. So it's patience, man. I would say for me, what I just do is I keep turning it over to, I basically turn it over to this creative force within me that loves me, transcends me. It's like my eagle in the sky. It's that force. And I just kind of work with it. And I know it always meets me, my personality self, where it's at. And I have patience. And sometimes things have to happen a few times, and then I just gain that part of me, that statistical part of me, becomes more miracle minded, and its faith grows. So it's a process. It's just a process of growing faith, right? So to meet yourself where you're at. But what I would propose is that ultimately, as we move in this path of miracle mindedness, what you'll more than likely find, if you continue on the path in the way I understand it, is that you will, as you have more faith in miracles, statistics will be less important to you. And as you lose as you start to have more faith in miracles versus statistics, that dissolution of the statistic belief paradigms within your subconscious will actually allow for more miracles, which will allow for more proof in miracles, which will further degrade the statistic paradigms, similar to how the caterpillar fights the butterfly for a period of time until it kind of reaches that tipping point wherein it is more butterfly than caterpillar, and eventually it increases rapidly from this kind of dark night of the soul to an exponential massive increase in the speed and efficiency at which that transformation takes place as the other stuff just surrenders. And I'm sure you've probably seen this with little things that you've overcome in your value belief paradigm matrices, where it was resisting, and then you kind of hit a tipping point, and then it's just a purification, and then it's just changed. And eventually there you will be a butterfly. And what that totally looks like, I'm not sure presently. I have some ideas, but the funny part about it is, I think once, for me at least, the more I feel like that aspect of the being, the less I actually look towards the future at all. I don't care. I know whatever I need will be sufficiently provided in the future. It doesn't mean I don't work towards the future, but I work towards the future in the present moment. And I do it based upon the guidance that I have of some force within me that transcends me, that provides me with the steps, right? So give to Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God's, give to mine what is mine. Give to the vibration what is the vibrations, give to the energy what is the energies, give to the frequency what is the frequencies, right? So the present moment me is still smaller than the greater me that's being me in the present moment. And so it's like this me right now in this present moment, what does he have to do, right? He has a particular thing in the present moment to do, and I leave the heavy lifting and stuff, like kind of knowing what's, like seeing the future and things like that. I basically just say, hey, let me know where to go, right? But the important thing to note is that we're here expressing ourselves on this material plane because it gives meaning, it makes things matter. So I think for me, there will be other people that will probably, to get to the next plane, that were more grounded, quote unquote, may find that for them, they'll probably feel the need to detach more from the world. In a sense, that's what it may feel like to them. And that's fine. Like that, sometimes you have to swing in the opposite direction, and then you kind of come back and balance it out. They may feel that for them to get to that next level of spiritual understanding, it's going to require detachment, right? Whereas with me, I'm like finding that I was already hyper detached, and now I'm embracing the material plane more. It's almost like I'm coming from the spiritual understanding, not that either one is better or worse than the other, but I'm coming from the spiritual understanding into realizing how important and beautiful it is to express on this material plane. And so as I create that union and harmonious relationship with the material world and realize that faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead, right? Everything, love will meet everything where it's at. So if I go in front of a person who presently has a very, very, very caterpillar mindset, I may not like the love will work through me, and it will treat them accordingly. And sometimes it's a smile. If someone's at another area, all of a sudden a bunch of words may fly out of my mouth about metaphysical stuff, right? Each person, I'll meet them where they're at. But if I just say, well, I don't have to say anything to anybody because everything's in the faith spirit realm, that's kind of defeating the purpose of being here, right? So we want like all aspects of ourselves and all the different planes working in harmony and unison. So leave to God what is God. Leave to the spirit what is the spirit. Leave to Caesar, what is Caesar's, and leave to me what is mine. So what am I supposed to do right now, right? I'm the bridge, right? I hope I clarified that enough with the statistics thing, or at least gave some kind of thoughts to chew on. And then finally, the last part of that, right, is thus faith by itself, thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But he also says, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. So they're in union together, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So that's what we're going to really be focusing on as we move forward in this. It's miracle mindset, and to me, evil is the belief that there aren't miracles to a degree, right? Kind of. I'll dive into that more. But there's a thing: think no evil, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, right? But if nature hates a vacuum, it will always fill it with something else. Like that adage with the evil spirit. So a guy had a house, he kicked out an evil spirit, and he cleaned the house, but he left it empty. The spirit came back with 7 more spirits even more evil than itself and filled the house. Right? It will always come back unless you replace it. Right? So you could think about it like the 7 sins. So 7 sins come back. Right? If you try to just deny sin instead of replacing it with virtue, the sin will just come back. Just like if you pour out a half a cup of water, right? It's going to fill up with air, that empty space. So if you want the air out, let's say the air is a negative, you want the air out, just fill it with water. It'll push the air out automatically. So we can do the same thing with hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Right? And what are you going to replace the evil with? Miracle. So instead of having to deny seeing, speaking, and thinking, seeing, speaking, and hearing evil, switch it to see miracles, hear miracles, speak miracles. But let's go even further. Hear miracles, speak miracles, see miracles. Sorry, let me do it this way. Hear miracles. No, even better. Ready? Think miracles, feel miracles, hear miracles, see miracles, speak miracles, do miracles, be miracles. Think miracles, feel miracles, see miracles, speak miracles. This is so challenging. Oh my goodness. All right, ready? Hear miracles, see miracles, speak miracles, think miracles, feel miracles, do miracles, be miracles. There we go. Hear miracles, see miracles, speak miracles, think miracles, feel miracles, do miracles, be miracles. Now, why is this so helpful? Because if you just even try to employ that or simplify whatever you want to do, you can just check in at any moment in your present moment and saying, what train of thought's going on in my head right now? Am I seeing miracles? Am I Am I thinking evil? Am I seeing evil? Am I speaking evil? Am I feeling evil? Am I doing evil? Whatever. And just correct it in the moment. It's okay. You're not wrong because it's happening. For the sake of giving us the ability to have free will, we deliberately chose to have an adversary plant old caterpillar thoughts inside of us for the sake of the experience of this transformation process. It's okay. And it's going to require some weeding of the garden, right? And that's the game. It gives us progress. It gives us growth. I mean, it is what it is, right? And so it's going to mean you're going to have these thoughts. You're going to find yourself in a train of thoughts of like thinking the old caterpillar energy that didn't believe in miracles. If we start thinking about wrathful things or envious things or lustful things or slothful things or whatever it is, it's because we ultimately don't believe in a miracle. So what is a miracle relative to a statistic, right? So a statistic is an interpretation based upon past experiences. And a miracle, which transcends past experiences, allows for the transformation of them. So a lot of times you're going to have repeating thoughts going in your head. That's okay. Those are old statistics, right? And you seek the miracle, which transcends, because the miracles come from heaven, it transcends the past experiences, and therefore will help you transform them. Well, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God, give to me in the present moment what is mine. And it's my job in the present moment, to the best of my ability, to be as vigilant and present in my realm of thoughts. Being present in the center, not just in the present of the world, like being in the center of the world, is being present of everything, like being in the center of everything, thoughts, feelings, right? Yesterday, today, tomorrow, the spirit, the body, right? Just sitting in there and observing and solidifying your intentions by making corrections or asking the Father within you, the Creator within you, to make corrections for you. Hey, I'm in a train of thought here. My new state of being is one wherein I am in a constant expansion and growth mindset, wherein I choose miracles. So I am choosing to, in this moment, correct whatever is behind those thought patterns of statistic interpretations of past experiences, not in alignment with the belief in miracles, to be transformed. Transform them. Right? And it's gonna take time. It doesn't even have to be looked at like a bad thing. It's a freaking game. We play games all the time that have some type of thing to overcome. That's the whole purpose of a game. Some kind of challenge that is an opportunity to utilize the power of creation to overcome it. Let's play a game. See how many times you can catch yourself thinking evil, speaking evil, right? Seeing evil, feeling evil, thinking evil, doing evil, or being evil. Not from a place to hate yourself, but it's a game. Let's play a game here. Let's just do it. Was I thinking evil? Was I seeing evil? Or was I speaking evil? Because I choose miracles. Am I seeing a miracle? Am I thinking a miracle? Am I being a miracle? And if I'm not, then that's what I choose. Play a game. In a world where one man who once thought in evil decides left you hanging. See you guys next time.